Welcome back to the Matriarchs, where we create a seat at the table for meaningful conversations and encouragement. Today, we're joined by a special guest, Mary, from Girls Mentorship, to share more about their mission, the impact they're making, and why mentorship for girls matters so much.
Thank you, Mary, so much for joining us today. Like I kind of told you before, we've been following you guys for about a year on Instagram and social media. And so I'm so excited that you are here and are going to get to share a little bit about yourself and about Jill and what the Girls Mentorship does. Um,
Thanks for having us, ladies. We're so excited to be here, and we will share about our mission anytime, anywhere. I joke that it could be my Uber driver, it could be the cashier at Target. I will find a way to tell that person what we do because it is so important to us. So thanks for giving us a space to talk about it with your audience.
yeah, I love that. So tell us a little bit about yourself and Girls Mentorship.
My business partner, best friend, who is not able to join us right now, and I are enthralled with personal growth and development. It is something that we have done for ourselves individually for the better part of probably going on 15 years now. I would say it made its way into my life sneakily. I owned a CrossFit gym before doing any of this. And my business partner said if we were going to be business partners, I had to go to a personal growth and development seminar called PSI. And I was against it. I was like, I don't need to be personally growthed and developed, Jason. Thank you so much. I'm fine. Right. Because I think there was a crossover in people's minds when it started gaining traction, the movement of around self help. And it was like, self help was kind of a dirty phrase. It was like you were broken. You didn't really want people to see you in the self help aisle at Barnes and Noble. So it was one of those things that I kind of took offense to, but it was a non negotiable for him. And the kids call it a canon event now, but it was one of those things that I will literally never forget. It was 3 days that completely changed my life. And I don't say that lightly. It was something that really opened up a lot for me in terms of, we'll just say, areas of opportunity that I had in my life to really dig in and ask questions and change patterns that were instilled in me, but generational patterns, obviously. I think the year was 2020, where I don't know if you guys remember, but the whole world shut down, right? In
Yeah.
terms of just not having to do much other than sit around, and if you wanted to dive deeper into yourself, you got to. And Jill and I were sitting around her kitchen table and we said, we've worked on ourselves enough at this point to understand kind of what's going on and to be okay with it for the most part. But kids, they're getting torn out of school, they're getting torn out of sports, they're getting kept from their friends, and they probably can't really reconcile why. What if they had these skills that we've worked for the last 5, 10 years to develop, where they could actually conceptualize what was going on and work through their emotions and their feelings towards it? And instead of just saying, what if, we said, why not? Why not us? Why can't we go out there and try to teach what we've learned to the younger generation? Because if I would have had the skills that I had at that point and the skills that I have now when I was 10, 13,
Oh,
16, even now, I mean, I'm 38
mhm.
years old and these skills are integral every single day of my life. It's something that we practice. So it was kind of a moonshot, a shot in the dark for us to say that, but we put it out into the universe and people grabbed onto it right away. It was really cool to say, "Hey, we want to start working with girls from the ages of, I don't know, 10 to 18, and we want to teach them self-confidence, self-awareness, self-esteem so they can have a better tool set, skill set in order to be able to work through whatever big emotions they're having, not just now in 2020, but also on the baseball field when they have a meltdown, also in their classroom with their teacher when they get a bad grade or they have a friendship fight." So it's really grown from there over the last 6 years, and it has been a wild ride.
That's incredible. It gives me chills because, like, Megan and I are so passionate about that as well. And, I've worked with a lot of, especially teen girls over the years that some of them just they struggle so much with that. It's very common, right? I mean, you're trying to figure out your identity at that age. You're trying to figure out like your friendship group, and there's just so much. I feel like it gets harder for teenagers with each generation because of social media and all the pressures. And so I just think that's incredible what you're doing.
Thank you. It really is a gift. We are honored and pinch ourselves on a daily basis to get to have these conversations and know that families really trust us to like walk alongside them because it's
Yeah.
not just working with the girl, right? When I owned a CrossFit gym, it was one of those things where you would see people get the fervor for wanting to work out, right? But that was simply 1 hour of the day. If they came to me for 1 hour of the day and they spent 23 hours binging Netflix and eating popcorn, then the 1 hour of the day they spent with me wouldn't matter. And it's the same concept here. If we spend a week with girls at summer camp from 9 to 3, awesome. You see it. You see the physical transformation from when they walked in with their shoulders down, their arms crossed, that WTF look on their face, to Friday, where they are lighter and brighter. And they are like, can we come back next week? That's amazing. However, if they go back to the same environment and mom and dad are still speaking the same language that they were speaking beforehand, why they sought us out because their girl wasn't confident or their girl didn't know how to problem solve, she will go back to that same version of herself.
Mhm. Yeah. I feel like this is such perfect timing. I'm actually working with a young girl. She's almost 14. God love her. She's so talented and amazing in so many areas of her life, but she lacks a confidence that concern it worries me. And
Yeah.
you read statistically, you know, teenagers that lack that confidence and certain skills, it could potentially lead them down a path of destruction. It's just so needed. And I've been like asking myself, okay, what exactly can I do to help instill these values in her, this confidence? And I know we know that a lot of that is like, growing their skills and but like how do you guys teach these girls at your camp how to know their worth, how to grow in their confidence? Like what are some of the things that you all work with them on?
Well, that's such a good call out, right? Because that is what we as a society see it as, is a lack of confidence.
Mhm.
Confidence is such a blanket
Yeah.
statement. I want my girl to be confident. I want her to have more confidence. Confidence is simply an outward expression of an inward feeling. So if that girl doesn't know how to have self love, positive self talk, self worth, self esteem,
Mhm.
confidence is not what's going to be shining outward. If her innards are saying, I hate the way I look, I suck at this, I am not good here, I am not worthy of having those friendships, confidence isn't going to be what comes out on the other side of that equation. So you really have to start peeling back the layers of the onion to see what's going on inside of her. And you're right, at a certain age, and we've really seen it start a little earlier and earlier because of social media. Obviously, that's a huge crux in our society right now,
Yeah.
but we see the tables turn around 10, right? Because prior to that, she's pretty unaware of who might be
Mhm.
watching her or what somebody else has that she does not have that makes her less than. But around 10 is when there's kind of a shift. We call it letting go of mom's hand, right? We're crossing the street. We no longer need to hold mom's hand. We're starting to really form an identity, a self identity. Who am I? What am I willing to do? What am I willing to say? Am I willing to put my hand on that hot stove? And if you're not prepared for that as a parent, it can seem really, really, I want to say, selfish,
Mhm.
right? They start having a little attitude. They start ignoring you a little bit more. And you kind of take offense to that. Like, what's
Yeah.
going on with you? That question of what's going on with you is so huge because they have no idea what's going on with them. Their hormones are racing, they're changing. They're a new person every single day. They wake up in a body that they don't know with a mindset that they don't know. So it pays to be a parent who can kind of step back from that and not take it so offensively and so personally, to say, I'm going to support you through this. I'm going to be your bowling bumper lanes in this, and kind of
Mhm.
just let be because you're going to change so rapidly. And I just need to be there to be that safe space for you. Now, I'm not going to let you disrespect me or come into this household and be an absolute terror. We need to work through that together. But if a girl has no idea what's going on inside of her, she has no idea what's coming in, right? She has no filter for what she's seeing, what she's comparing herself to. And all of that, what she's letting in, impacts her self confidence. So it really pays for us at camp and in our programs to help them peel back the layers of the onion and understand more of what she's letting in that is impacting her internally for her outward focus to be what it is.
Yeah. With your camps, you mentioned sending them back to mom and dad, and mom and dad not changing anything, and then the girl goes back to, her normal ways. Do you have like something that you do with the parents to help them through the camp and help them not to go back to the normal ways? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, it totally does. And it's a question that we've gotten every day for 5 years, if I'm being honest. We call ourselves hot leaders. The hot can be obviously standing for lots of things, but for us, we use it as an acronym. So it's humble, open, and transparent. And if I'm being transparent, parents are all talk and not a lot of action.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, parents will say what they want and they will not follow through with what they want. And I understand that. I'm not a parent, so I will not put myself in the shoes of a parent. I know that schedules and clearly we're recording this in May-cember. Schools want you to have your kids dress as Abraham Lincoln one day. You have a clap out the next day. You have an assembly that afternoon. There's a lot going on. So I don't want to misconstrue parents' intentions with what they're
Mhm.
actually able to do, but it's also a choice.
Mhm.
For some reason, in the past, I want to say 10 years, we've decided as a society that busy is best. That packing our schedules is how we should operate as a family
Mhm.
unit, which leaves absolutely no room to breathe or think or just sit down in silence. There is no silence in households anymore. I watched Jill, who is a mom of two, have her children in competitive baseball, little league baseball, football just for fun. Thankfully, they have football just for fun. So if they lose, who cares? Because they're literally doing it for fun, but they've had to create that designation. But I do believe that sports is tearing families apart simply
Yeah.
because it takes weekends, it takes mental capacity. If we're not playing to get into college at the age of 8, like what are
Yeah.
we even doing? The
Right.
expectation we place on our kids at this point is
Yeah.
wild. However, to answer your question, parents say they want the help and they want the work to support their daughter, but what they say isn't actually the action that they take. So, yes,
Yeah.
we have created several opportunities over the years to try to help parents understand what we're teaching more so they can walk alongside their daughter, but the action is not exactly there to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that. I'm in what you're talking about right now. I'm in
Mhm.
this stage, and so I can totally relate and see that. And so, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, and I think too, like, that's why we're so passionate about this. I think there's a lot of parents also who are just surviving. And
Yeah.
a lot of them they grew up lacking confidence. They grew up lacking certain skills. And then you go into it. Well, I mean, they all have some of that, but like, if you want to impact the nation, start with this next generation. And I think that's like, if we as a collective of different, people, organizations are trying to reach this generation of teenagers, it's going to prepare them. And so, for instance, I know several parents that are trying to parent teenage daughters, but they have stuff that they never addressed in themselves. And so that's one reason why we're so passionate about this is like,
Yeah.
we want to impact them now, but we also want to prepare them for a future where they are thriving. And you're not always thriving in life, but generally speaking, and then I feel like it's going to make them be better parents if they choose to be parents, or just better people in society. And so, I mean, I think that's perfect. And for you to explain it that way, You know,
Yeah.
I have 4 daughters, and I'm very blessed that they're all super confident and they very independent and self-sufficient. But, some of that I feel like is has been a collective of people who've poured into their life, right? It's not just
Ooh, yeah.
their father and I. Because of that, I don't necessarily know exactly how to teach that. And so the way you just explained it makes perfect sense. It's like
Yes.
that's like a no-brainer. But sometimes when you're in the midst of raising, these teenagers, you don't always realize, for me, I thought, okay, skill development, the way you speak into your children, that all matters. But I love that peeling back the layers. And I think
Well,
some,
yeah, it's one of those things that we also hear on a consistent basis, right? A mom will pick up their daughter because we do a great job of communication. So in terms of summer camp, we want parents to know almost everything that we're doing as much as we can. We can't pick up 8 hours and translate it into an email that reads well. So we take out the highlights and send those. But communication is really important to us because we want them to know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it when they're with us. So we'll get several moms over the course of a week that will pick up their daughter, and either they'll have read the email that we sent or they'll have listened to their daughter talk about the day, either to her directly or with her friends that she came with on the car ride home, or to camp the next day. And it's like, she was talking about boundaries. She was talking about values. She was talking about seeing something from somebody else's perspective. And I realized that I've never learned that. I still don't have that. When are you throwing a camp for moms? And it's like,
mm,
it's funny because there is a whole generation of us that really didn't have an opportunity to learn these skills. And that's
yeah,
no fault of our own parents, right? You
yeah,
can see it with each generation, in terms of the amount of information that we have access to. And we're blessed right now to have access to information that our parents couldn't dream of, right? The statistic around the information
oh
we get
yeah,
in a day being like 5,000 times more than what somebody in 1950 got in their whole lifetime speaks volumes of just how much we have. But I also feel like the access to that information is detrimental because it provides a great opportunity to have analysis by paralysis. So you could be on TikTok and have a content creator tell you that this is the way. And the next video is another content creator telling you the exact opposite. And you're like, oh my God, what do I actually do that helps my daughter build these skills? And you wind up doing nothing at all because now you're spinning in terms of what the best solution is for your family.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. What is some struggles that you see from some of the girls in the camps that that adults often underestimate or, don't do anything about?
God, I mean, you can see an array of different issues that girls come up with. We came up with our curriculum based on having worked with so many girls over the years, right? Each girl's issue is individual to them. What they are struggling with is something that they feel is their problem and only their problem, and no one else in the world will ever struggle with that same problem. However, when you talk to so many girls across several different school districts, several different socioeconomic backgrounds, you're seeing similar themes get pulled out. Our curriculum came from that. So, our curriculum is the word power, which is such a fun play on words, right? Who is stealing your power? Where are you feeling disempowered? What types of things drain your power? Where can you gain power? Where can you feel empowered, right? So, questions, sticky language that we can give to girls that they can actually conceptualize and be like, wow, my battery's really low. Hanging out with that friend drained my battery, whereas hanging out with this friend powered me up. I feel so much better after hanging out with this person. So, power stands for perspective, ownership, worthiness, empowerment, and reassurance. And I would say the number one thing that parents come to us for is both friendship issues. So, girls having issues in their friendship group, feeling excluded, not feeling like they belong, feeling like a third wheel, etc. And just that they say it in a way where it is My daughter's light has been dimming over the last year. She is not the same girl that she was last year. I see her light being dimmed and I don't know why. So those two things are probably the biggest things that we hear directly from parents.
Tell us about the camp, like how to, because so they don't stay there overnight.
No, I want to say we're in a category of our own. We're definitely doing things differently than a lot of summer camp programs. I want to say with the work that we do, it's draining. It is emotionally, mentally, and physically exhausting. And we're not an activities camp. We're not a sports camp. So we're not on the basketball court. We're not on the soccer field. We're not taking physical reps. But what we're doing is having conversations that these girls have never had an opportunity to have a conversation about. So when I think of Wednesday. Wednesday is W, so worthiness in our power framework. A big conversation that we have on Wednesdays is about bricks and backpack. What are you carrying around? What's weighing you down? What has somebody said to you that has stuck with you for X amount of days, months, years, right? It could be a comment in passing. We've had girls tell us all sorts of things that coaches have said to them in terms of their skill as an athlete, or teachers have said that to them as students. Obviously, parenting is a delicate thing, right? Sometimes you say something that you think is funny that winds up sticking with your child for the rest of their life. And none of that is ever intentional. That's the hard part about it. But I'm assuming that you can think of something that your mom and dad said to you over the years that you have carried with you, that are reminded of at family get-togethers where you're like, "God, I hated that nickname. Why are you still calling me that?" Right? So I think of Worthy Wednesdays where girls are offloading these things that have been said to them or expectations that have been placed on them. And by the end of Wednesday, everyone is tired. They walk out of the space absolutely drained, and that's totally normal. So we set parents up for success in that. But I feel like we've hit a sweet spot with the amount of time we spend with them. So camp is Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It really mirrors the school day well. So they kind of understand the schedule and what the drill is in terms of the time they get to spend with us. But I feel like overnight, and we have been asked this question a lot as well, wouldn't serve them as much. I think getting to go home and getting to go back to their regular life, and a lot of girls have activities scheduled after the camp day. It serves them really well because they get to practice what we talked about in real time. So if a friend said something to where they're like, "Whoa, hard boundary. I don't like that you said that to me." Or, they have a moment with a teammate where they get to practice reassuring them or empowering them. They get to do that, and that's really cool for us to then hear about those stories the next morning at camp when we have our morning meetings.
Yeah.
So, no overnights. I don't think that'll be something that we build into it, at least not for the foreseeable
Yeah.
future.
I love that. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah.
Do you have multiple weeks?
Yes, multiple weeks of camp. We've tested that out too. It's funny. I think it was like February 2021. After we had at that point we had worked with, I want to say, like 30 girls one on one. So our one on one program back then was 8 weeks. We'd meet with them once a week for 8 weeks, 1 hour a day, communicate with them throughout the week, make sure they were doing okay. If they had something going on, they could bring it to their session with us. So we were hearing a lot of the same things, the struggles with confidence, the struggles with friendships, right? And we were like, okay,
Mhm.
we could start doing like group workshops. So we started doing group workshops where girls could relate to one another and see that they weren't alone in what they were struggling with. And I think it was February 2021 where we were like, I see all these summer camps. I think we could throw a summer camp. And the version of us now laughs because in February of 2021, summer was only a couple months away. And it was funny to think that we thought we could plan a summer camp in 2 months' time. And that's the beauty of living in the unknown, in the world of
Yeah.
possibility, right? You don't think
Yeah.
anything is impossible. But once we got into it, we were like, there's no way we can make this happen. Even at a small scale, there's not a chance that we can make this happen. So we took that entire year and planned for our first summer camp, which happened then in 2022. And it was 2 half days, the most inconvenient schedule we could possibly cultivate for parents. It was a Wednesday, Thursday from 9 a.m. to 1. So they came Wednesday 9 to 1, and then they came back Thursday 9 to 1. And we did that for 6 weeks. So we had different like themes for each session, and girls joined for multiple, which was awesome. We were so giddy about it. We had all of our girlfriends help. We have a girlfriend who owns a event rentals company who came and like decked out the space. We have a girlfriend who does balloons who brought garland and balloons everywhere. And we were just stoked at the way it turned out. And the feedback was, hey, my daughter loved this. Can it be more convenient next year? And it was like, yeah, absolutely. That was just us, dipping our toes in the water, trying things
Yeah.
out. So over the course of the next, I want to say then 3 years, because that would put us at 4, we've experimented with the time frame. The next year we did 3 weeks. It was a week on, a week off, a week on, and a week off. That was also a terrible idea because as facilitators, it was like that week off in between was real hard to get back on the horse the next week.
Yeah.
So the next year after that, we decided to do 6 weeks, which was great for research and development. 6 weeks was way too long just for the two of us because it's literally just us doing everything. So we're sending out the emails, we're making sure the website is functioning so parents can buy the tickets. Then we're at the registration table. Then we're facilitating. We're getting the band aids. We're taking the teeth that have fallen out. We're calling parents when girls were sick. We're running the snack shack. Like it's us doing everything. So 6 weeks was way too long. And the last 2 years, this year included, so 2025 and 2026, we've landed on 4. So camp is all of June. Each session starts every Monday. So this year we'll be starting on June 1st, and then we go through that last week of June. Girls can come for one session, they can come for all 4 sessions. They will have a different experience every time they come because the curriculum is the same. We will talk about the same thing every single week. That is our foundation. But with new campers and new guest speakers, the conversations change vastly. Someone will
Yep.
bring something up in a way that they did not bring it up the week before that changes the dynamic of the room 180 degrees. It has been
Mhm.
very cool for us to see girls come for literally 4 weeks, and by the end they're like, this was my favorite week because of this. Or by their 3rd week on Thursday they're like, you guys, Friday's my favorite day because we get to talk about friendship buckets, so just get ready for tomorrow's, like, their little advocates for the week. So yes, there are 4 different sessions for girls to be able to attend, and they can come to one, they can come to all. It doesn't matter to us.
I love that. Okay, so you're in Phoenix, is that correct?
Scottsdale.
Okay. Do you have plans of expanding or like, I don't know, bringing this to other cities or having like someone like Meg and I, adopt this, but have it under your umbrella? Or do you have any plans of that? Or would you even consider something like that?
Yes. We this conversation has been sliced and diced in so many different directions. It's wild. Our goal is to impact as many girls as possible. We
Yeah.
put a number on that at 1 million. Like, we want to impact 1 million girls. And obviously, Jill and I aren't the only ones doing that. There's absolutely no possible way that we're able to bring 1 million girls into our programs by ourselves. So, for us, that obviously means getting to bring other women into it that can help us do that.
Yeah.
With that said, outside of summer camp, we also do after school programs, which is fairly new for us, but summer camp is one month out of the year. So we needed to figure out how to get in front of girls throughout the year that was both convenient for them as well as their parents. After school programs have done that for us. And this year we've gotten to bring in 2 women, which is funny because before we hit record, we were talking about, not doing enough or having a couple more downloads each episode being enough for growth. So saying 2 doesn't feel like a lot. But for us, we have 2 women teachers who are running our after school programs in their schools. We have developed an entire curriculum around after school programs for Arizona. what enrichment departments look like. The enrichment department is who you work with for after school programs. They run 4 sessions throughout the year. So when school starts, there is an after school session one, and it runs for 6 weeks. And then we get to fall break and we take a break. And then we have one more session that butts right up to Christmas. So that's 2 sessions in the first semester. Then we go on winter break and we come back, and after school programs start again at the end of January and go all the way to spring break. Then we take a break and start up until the end of the school year. So there's 4 sessions. Each one is 6 weeks long. So we've developed a curriculum that has 24 lessons in it. So none of it repeats, but it basically teaches the girls there's 4 different lessons on perspective. There's 4 different lessons on ownership. So if a girl
Mhm.
is with us from the beginning of August until school gets out in May, she will hear all about our power framework, just taught in different ways. So she'll just get the lesson pounded into her throughout the entire year, said several different ways, because she
Yeah.
needs to hear it that many times and a
Yeah.
thousand more times in order for her to really understand it. But we teach it in a different way every session.
Yeah.
So, with that, one of our big goals for after summer camp is to sell our curriculum in a
Okay.
way that helps facilitators facilitate it to the best of their ability. So,
Mhm.
women like you, absolutely. We consider our curriculum to be a bolt on. So, if you're already working with a girl and you need curriculum that supports what you're already doing, if you're a softball coach and you want mindset work to go along with the skills practice that you're giving them, our curriculum is that bolt on. It helps them with their mindset in terms of what
Mhm.
their goals are. So our big goal after summer camp is to launch our curriculum out there for the world for individuals, as well as to get in touch with as many school districts as we possibly can
Yeah.
to potentially train their teachers to have this as an just another thing, another tool that they can pull from while they're teaching.
Yeah.
Wow. I know we're running out of time. I did want to see if there's one thing what's one thing you would want to say to like our girls or even moms or listening, that what's one thing you would want to say to them?
Oh man, there's just so much. One thing doesn't define you. It's very cool to continue to discover new versions of yourself, but you have to be open to that. The
Mhm.
preppy girl you are in 6th grade might not be the same girl you are in 8th grade, and it is okay to shed that identity. It's also okay to experiment with 1,000 different identities. People might question it, people might throw shade at you, but those people do not get to dictate who you become. And who you become is literally an everyday process. When I say peeling back layers of the onion, it's an endless onion. And where girls are right now is at the top layer. And I would just encourage them, as well as mothers, to continue to peel back and discover more
Mm.
of who you are. Because when
Mhm.
you can understand who you are at your core, becoming, being out into the world, being a good friend, being a good daughter, being a good sister, just being a good human becomes so much more easeful. And the learning literally never stops. Honestly, it's
Yeah.
funny to Jill and I to do this work because the conversations we get to have with girls literally every day. I mean, we just wrapped this last week of after school programs. We were in schools Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we have different groups at different schools. And these conversations that we get to have with these girls are so confronting. So there's
Mhm.
not a moment in life where you're just ever going to arrive or your confidence is just going to always be there, right? Allow yourself the space and the grace to continue to discover new versions of yourself, as well as not beat yourself up for mistakes or failures, because those mistakes and failures are going to continue to create the version of you that you fall most in love with.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that's what's so important to Trish and I, and why we
Mhm.
started this is because I didn't learn that when I was younger. And, at 30, I was still trying to figure out my identity. And so if they can learn this now, like when they're,
Yeah.
10, 11, 12, However, 13 and into their teens, if they can learn their identity and figure out who they truly are before, they are golden.
Yeah.
It gives them freedom to
Yes.
be and choose, and freedom from everyone else's expectation, right? Especially at such an integral age where they feel like it's center stage syndrome, where they feel like literally everyone is watching them, concerned about them, talking about them as if they showed up to school just wearing their underwear. And that's simply not the case. So if we can free them from those handcuffs, really they are handcuffed by what everyone else is thinking of them when no one else is actually thinking of them, because everyone else is too concerned thinking about themselves. If we can
Yeah.
give them that freedom, we're literally setting them free.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I'm just really blown away by what you and Jill are doing, and I mean it just fits right up our alley as far as principles that we're wanting to instill as well. And so, I mean, I'll speak for both of us when I say we would definitely be one of your first customers of purchasing this curriculum because years ago when I started feeling a conviction to go this route to inspire and empower girls, I wanted to do like some big event, something along the lines of exactly what you guys are doing. And I just love that you guys are doing this and providing this because it's going to be life changing for girls. But I also think it's going to be life changing for parents because, my girls, when they come home from something that they've learned and we talk about it, I mean, it teaches me so much as a parent, helps me to like think, oh, okay, I need to be working with them on that as well. And so I think you are having an impact on the parents in a way that you probably don't even realize
Yeah.
through the girls.
You've had a huge impact on me today. Just like I keep getting quiet because my wheels are just spinning. I'm like, oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you are
Incredible.
Well,
I
thank you, ladies. Honestly, it takes a village. Trish, you said something earlier about how you and your husband have really been intentional or notated that it takes more than you two as the parents, the matriarch and the patriarch of the household, to
Mhm.
shape and form who your daughters are becoming. And it's the same in life, right? And in business and in this mission. It's not just Jill and I that can do this, that can instill these qualities and these tools and these skills in girls. They need to hear it from several different sources. They need to be
Mhm.
supported by several different communities in order to get it. Because girlhood is hard. And I don't
Mhm.
just want to say girlhood, womanhood is hard.
Oh
You
yeah.
guys are sports moms, I'm assuming. You see it
Yep.
in the group chats and the
Oh yeah.
cattiness that starts to happen. Like, if girls are bullies at 12, 13, 14, 15, we joke with our girls all the time that they don't just magically turn around at 18 and they're not that same bully because they're an adult now, right? A bully
Right.
becomes a bully if they don't learn that those skills don't serve them. They become a mom bully, a woman bully, right? So,
Yeah.
like, having women like you come alongside us and support the overall mission and the collective,
Mhm.
huge.
Yeah.
So thank you for also having your own platform that helps parents and girls learn and glean these lessons as well.
yeah.
I love it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk Megan into maybe jumping on a plane this summer and sitting in on a couple of your sessions if you'd be up
That
to
was
it.
already going through my head. We do
Yeah.
have games every in June. We have games almost every night for softball, and we've already committed to that. But maybe next year.
Maybe I'll have to come down and represent both of us. I
Yeah.
I see a solo trip for you, Trish.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm gonna have to make it work. In fact, Grace and I my daughter, she's about to graduate college. We're going down to Tucson in June. So maybe we'll just like, sneak over and I'll get with you offline. But yeah, I
Great.
would love that. So
Well, thank you, ladies, for a great conversation.
Yes.
well, thank you.
Be sure to share this episode with someone who needs it, and we'll see you next time on The Matriarchs.